Hi, I'm Dave Raffo from Channel Futures, and this is another edition of our MSP Summit videos, which are part of Channel Partners TV, what we call CPTV. And today I'm here with Moovila's founder and CEO, Mike Psenka.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me,
for
Dave.
joining me, Mike.
Thanks.
So if you could start off just giving us a little rundown on what MSPs need to know about Moovila, what you do for MSPs.
Yeah, sure. So we have an AI-driven automated project and work management platform. At the end of the day, what it means for MSPs is peace of mind. I think project management is always been kind of a thorn in the foot of a lot of MSPs. What happens and how projects kind of go sideways, and it's no secret that the PSA platforms out there have inadequate project management platforms and kind of no line in sight for that to get resolved. It's sort of a big problem, and so we step in. We have a bidirectional interface with those platforms. And we have a very deep suite of white box deterministic AI solutions that allow those projects, automation in those projects to deliver accuracy. Then the net is dates you can trust. And when you have dates you can trust, that helps scheduling, efficiency, process, customer communication, credibility. When you have crappy dates in the system, you get bad scheduling churn, frustration, frustrated customers, damaged credibility. So at the end of the day, if you were to pick like one thing that we're fixing for MSPs, it's giving them good dates on their projects.
So one thing everybody wants to know these days is how to use AI, right? So
Right.
there are obviously benefits and there are still challenges. So let's start off with, how can AI automation help MSPs?
Yeah, and it just depends on what their use case and what their problem is, right? And so I think as MSPs look towards a solution to deploy AI for a use case, I always say it kind of comes down to error rate. What is the acceptable error rate for the solution that you're doing, whether it's scheduling, dates, projects, it's assignment of a ticket. What's the speed, the latency in which that problem gets solved, and what's the acceptable error rate that you have? And I think with the latest spate of these LLMs, it's been really impressive because the error rate has dropped considerably for generating text and process. It's sort of certainly been impressive, but there are a lot of things that Gen AI struggles with and can't do. So I always sort of encourage MSPs when they're looking at solutions to kind of understand, hey, what's the problem we're trying to solve? What types of AI or technology are we using here? Are we using deterministic AI? Are we using probabilistic AI? I think there's an education that has to occur with MSPs because right now, I would say, unfortunately, ChatGPT has made everyone feel, hey, that's synonymous with what AI is, and it's not. It's a part of AI. It's in the realm of machine learning, deep learning. These large language models are sort of within a subset of that process, but they don't represent the entirety of AI. And if we think that it does, it's risky because it's probabilistic in nature. And I think we experience that probabilistic component as hallucination, right? When we go into ChatGPT and ask it, someone in our office asked it for a yoga studio nearby, and it just made one up and made up an address, right? And it's sort of like a really convincing liar. So that's probabilistic AI can do that. Deterministic AI solutions always give you the same answer with the same inputs, and they don't hallucinate. It's sort of interpretable, right? So as MSPs look to solve problems right now with this massive hype cycle around Gen AI, and we use Gen AI as well, and it's a really good tool set and it's really helpful. But there are certain things where you want to look into the realm of deterministic AI to solve problems because you need a defined interpretable answer. You can't afford to have it hallucinate, give you a goofy answer, right? Your self-driving cars have both of these. They have deterministic and probabilistic AI. You don't want your car, if it's self-driving, to determine sometimes that a red light doesn't mean stop. Like it should 100% of the time mean stop for you. So, once again, as MSPs look to solve these problems, they have to look at the technology, understand, hey, what's an acceptable error rate for this problem? What kind of tech am I using? Can I interpret the results, the answers, and am I getting a reliable, responsible answer around this problem? Because at the end of the day, the MSP world is a relationship business. Their relationship depends on being able to deliver reliable, interpretable answers to their customers.
Yeah, so do you think MSPs and maybe this could apply to almost anybody, but do you think the expectations of AI are unrealistic at this point?
Um, so I guess it depends. I've talked to a lot of different people. I guess expectations. I think there are a lot of biases that human beings have when we're faced with a new technology or process. AI is certainly transforming and will continue to transform things. Make no mistake about that. I think, however, there are some areas where we know it just doesn't do a good job and it hasn't grown. And so I think that's the important thing for us to sort of step back on is to understand, hey, there actually are, I think right now it's like, oh, there's no limit. It's going to do everything. It's going to take over everything. But I'll underscore one clear example where it falls down really poorly, right? And when we talk about an error rate and we say, hey, what's an acceptable error rate for an answer in a certain area? In many cases, it's like 0.25%. Like anything more than that, you lose trust in the system, you can't afford it, or 0.5%. And when you look at these AI, these large LLMs that have come out from all of them, whether it's Gemini, whether it's ChatGPT, it's Claude, it's Grok, whoever it is, they struggle with a whole category of problems called graph data. And graph data is a discrete math term. It's vertices, vertexes, and edges, and how information is collected and related to each other. And these LLMs, their ability to understand where they are inside of that graph and traverse the entire graph holistically, the way a human being would do and look, or the way you can automate in a deterministic way through technologies to say, hey, look, I'm going to traverse this whole graph and understand, just can't do it. And you can't make it do it either. It can look at its nearest neighbors, but the error rate is really, really high. And so what that means is it just kind of can't work on these complex, interrelated work efforts or projects, right? And it struggles on that. It does a great job with language. It does a great job with 2D and 3D images. We've seen those error rates plummet. We just haven't seen the error rates plummet in this arena when you think about, hey, I'm going to holistically evaluate all of these relationships because it's a linear probabilistic tool. And I know that's sort of kind of going nerding out and going tech talk on it, but when you say, is it going to take over everything? There's no clear line of sight that it is going to. It's really good at atomic linear probabilistic execution, but once again, you think about this concept of relationships and managing complex relationships, which is what human beings do, and which is what projects are. Those tools there's not line of sight that they're just going to take that over and manage all that stuff. The way it appears that they might be able to self-heal a machine in an atomic way, or reset a password, or those atomic level things. It's really, really good at, or generating directly, but it's not the be all end all, I guess, is at the end of the day. So,
Nothing is, I guess, right?
yeah, we like that. We get the hype stuff, and there's no penalty for these CEOs of these companies hyping it because they're just not being penalized for saying it's everything, it's amazing, it's perfect, it's going to do everything, because that increases their valuation and their equity and their stock in that business. So no downside there for them.
They're just telling people what they want to hear anyway, right?
Yeah, I'd say it's a little irresponsible because it's scaring the crap out of the public at large to make them think that they're all going to be irrelevant and their jobs are going to be gone. It's certainly going to have an impact. It's certainly going to change the landscape of work. Make no mistake, but there's kind of a middle way with it.
Okay, great. So we'll be seeing you at the MSP Summit, right? I know you're speaking.
Yeah. We're excited to be there.
Okay, anything else can we look forward to from Moovila at the show?
Yeah, please come by, and we'd love to show you how we can automate schedules and automate analytics on your projects with AI so you can be more efficient, more profitable, and have a better peace of mind.
Sounds good. Who wouldn't want that? All
Thanks,
right,
Dave.
thanks, Mike. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
Sounds good. See you in a few weeks.